met Seger, and Seger sort of took me under his wing, and he let me come to recording sessions. He took me to the Ramblin' Gamblin' Man recording session and let me play acoustic guitar and sing background. We used to play a circuit of clubs in Detroit called the Hideouts. And Bob was managed by Punch, and Punch ran the Hideouts. And my band finally got good enough that we auditioned one night and got a job at the Hideouts. He probably is the most important individual in my musical career. I originally went to California to follow a girl that I met in Detroit who moved out to California to get in the music business. And when I went out there, I met J.D. the first day. And J.D. and I immediately hooked up. We laughed like crazy. And J.D. had a lot of opinions. I hadn't met so many people that had opinions about things, but J.D. had a lot of opinions about music and who was good and who wasn't. J.D. was a big influence as well. Spent 3 years in the now defunct acoustic duo called Long Branch Penny Whistle. The First Lady of Country Rock. She probably more than any one person is responsible for the Eagles getting together. Don Henley and I got hired by her in May of 1971 to go on a very brief tour of the Southeast. Him as her drummer, me as her guitar player. And we got out there on the road, and Linda and her manager at the time, John Boylan, had this idea that they wanted to put together a super country rock group to back up Linda. And they definitely wanted me and Henley in the band, and then they started talking about members of the Burrito Brothers, Poco, things like that. Don and I went to Linda and said, Linda, we want to have our own band. And I think where other people would have maybe been miffed by that, Linda completely understood and said, oh, I think that's great. And then she helped us get Bernie Ledden to come visit and sit in at Disneyland. She helped us get Randy Meisner to come up to a show in Los Altos at a little club and sit in with us. And then Henley and I were able to pitch both of them about our idea of starting another band. So Linda really, really helped put the Eagles together. I get a peaceful, easy feeling, and I know you won't let me down. I'm already standing. It's like I'm already standing. Yes, I'm already standing on the ground. The Eagles, the reason we chose that name, I think, was because it represented a lot of things. There was the Southwestern Native American approach, which was that the eagle embodied the highest aspirations of man. It was the creature that flew closest to the sun, was the only bird of prey that didn't prey on other birds. Every country had an eagle. It was on the dollar bill. It was the American symbol. Yet it also sounded like a car club, a street gang, a football team. It seemed to cover a lot of ground, and it was very American. I think we picked the right name. Take It Easy. It was the first Eagles song and really sort of everybody's first image of our band, you know. And I think it was the vistas of the Southwest, and, you know, it was the beginnings of what became country rock.
Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. 4 that wanna own me, 2 that wanna stone me, 1 says she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Lighten up while you still can.
Desperado, which is the first song Don Henley and I wrote together, and I think I was 24 and Don was 26, and to think that, you know, this song would stand the test of time, would still be being recorded by people.
Out riding fences so long now. Oh, you're a hard one. I know you got your reasons. These things that are pleasing you will hurt you somehow.
Henley, great artist, dedicated artist, wants everything to be right. Great singer, underrated drummer.
the sun. You got your hair combed.
I think he's an important artist and somebody that brings a lot of credibility to the music business and to songwriting.
I can tell you my love for you will still be strong after the boys of summer have gone.
One of these nights, my personal favorite Eagles song along with I Can't Tell You Why.
Look at us, baby, up all night, tearing our love apart. Aren't we the same two people who live through years in the dark? Every time I try to walk away, something makes me turn around and stay, and I can't tell you why.
We were always quite amazed that Steely Dan was so brave lyrically. They had lines in their songs that we would sort of looked at ourselves and says, whoa, would we have put that in one of our songs? We started talking about Hotel California and wanted to sort of write a song that was sort of like an episode of The Twilight Zone. All of our songs were cinematic, but we wanted to open up with us. It was just one shot to the next, and they didn't necessarily make sense. It was just picture of the guy on the highway, picture of the hotel, picture, you know, and the guy walks in, the door opens, strange people, and it's just sort of following this guy, and it doesn't really make sense. It's just sort of a, like I said, an episode out of The Twilight Zone or something. And so we decided to just sort of create something strange, just to see if we could do it. As far as making a record is concerned, I think Hotel California, the album, and Hotel California, the song, were probably the zenith of the Eagles in that what we had to say came together with our learning of how to make records. That song was co-written with Don Henley and also with Don Felder, an often not recognized but integral part of the Eagles in the second half of the band. That was probably our best record.
Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely face. There's plenty of room at the Hotel California. Any time of year, you can find it here.
Somebody asked my friend Bob Seger why'd the Eagles break up, and he said, well, in 2 words, Hotel California. There are only a few people in rock and roll who understand the experience of going in to make an album after you've sold over 10 million copies of the album you previously made. I guess starting out, you know, one dream would be to have a multi-platinum album. We never, of course, anticipated that we would go over 10 or 15 million. But it turns around and puts a tremendous amount of pressure on you to live up to everything that was said and about that record and the amount of sales. I think we were bristling with confidence at that time, and we weren't afraid to step out and take some chances, and we had a very, very prolific couple of guitar players in our band. The experience in the studio to learn how to make records and put them together, it was really an exciting time. It was an easy record to make. The whole album was done in 6 or 7 months. I think in some ways we did peak. That was the best work that we did. That was where everything really came together. There's a lot of songs in my past. Songs are like your kids. You raise them from, you know, the time they're little till they're big and grown up, and then you wave goodbye as they go out the door.